This is a frame of analog film, Vision 3 250D. It's one of the most used color film stocks, and the film gives a classical cinematic look. This is a digital video shot in the same situation. First, let's compare common ways people try to emulate the film's look, and then I'll show you how I create actually accurate film emulations with native tools in DaVinci Resolve. This Vision 3 250D film emulation I'll create in this video is part of my ACES Lite look library, a collection of professional pre-built looks for DaVinci Resolve. More info about that a bit later. So first, let's try DaVinci's print film emulation. This is emulating Kodak 2383 print film. I know, it's not the same as the Vision 3 250D, but bear with me. Let's just see if it even looks like a film. Okay, the colors look a bit, well, different, but it's still very clear which one is the real film and which one is the emulation. The second option is the film look creator in DaVinci Resolve. I selected the default 35mm emulation, and it looks nicer than the previous print film emulation, but rather dull and flat. I can tweak the settings to get a better image, but of course it would be nice if it would just work straight out of the gate, and even then it's quite clear which one is the emulation and which one is the real film. Then let's try the big boy in film emulation, DeHancer. This cost you like $450, so it better deliver. And I can even select the same film stock as the real film was shot with, and it fails. And again, with this tool, I need to, first of all, watch a lot of tutorials online and how to use this, and then it requires a lot of tweaking from my side to get the look right. And in the end, we get a decent result. It looks much nicer than the previous ones, but the real film still, I would say, it still eludes us. So fourth option, let's try the Vision 3 250D film emulation that we have inside the look library. And straight out of the gate, we get the look. No tweaking needed. And can you even tell which one is the film and which one is the emulation? Here are some clips where I applied the Vision 3 250D emulation, making these clips look like they were shot with this film stock instead of a digital camera. This emulation is done in ACES, so this works with pretty much any camera or capture profile, and you can use these for HDR videos as well. This emulation changes the color of your digital video files and adds physically accurate halation that looks much more like the real film halation instead of, hey, my video has halation, as you often see on YouTube. It adds a hint of realistic bloom, and it bakes the grain into the footage in a realistic way. This emulation is now part of my ACES Lite look library product. It's one of the 8 accurate film emulations in this library that I have created so far, and I'm creating more in the near future. And each film emulation has a plus version as well. The plus means it's a look that has been built on top of the emulation. In the description, you can find more information about the ACES Lite look library, which is, as the name implies, a library of pre-built professional looks for DaVinci Resolve as fully customizable power grades. If you're interested of speeding up your grades and achieve pro-level looks in seconds, give this a try. These are much more powerful than any LUT or DCTL. You can see more examples of all the looks in the library in the link in the description. Let me now recap the process of how I emulate film and how I created these emulations for this look library. So first, I choose my film, for example, the Vision 3 250D, and I load it into my analog camera. And based on the properties of the loaded film, if this film camera would now suddenly be a digital camera with a digital sensor, its white balance would be daylight, as this film is daylight, and its ISO would be 250, as this film is 250 ISO. So to create a film emulation for this, I'll pick up my digital camera and I'll set the corresponding settings to my digital camera. I'll use 2 identical lenses in both cameras, and I start shooting. I start with shooting these diagrams that have a variety of color on them with both cameras. First, a short video with my digital camera, and then a photo with my analog camera. And I make sure to match the aperture, shutter speed, and white balance, and the ISO between the cameras. Then I shoot a bunch of images with both cameras with sync settings, skin tones, sky, foliage, whatever random stuff I can find. Then I develop the film at the local film lab, the analog film, but I scan and convert the film myself. So doing the scanning and converting yourself, you just get much better colors from your film, but it's a lot of work. Then I bring the scanned film photos to DaVinci Resolve's timeline and place a frame from each corresponding video clip on next to the analog frame. And now I'll start creating the emulation, first matching the exposure and contrast and tone. Then I match the saturated colors to be exact with a combination of techniques. Then I'll take a look at the skin tones, and after that I'll just try and hunt for opportunities to improve the emulation by doing small tweaks here and there. Then I'll match the grain and add physically accurate halation effect to the emulation. Then I'll make some compensation for the exposure to make sure that the middle gray's exposure stays the same before and after the emulation. And last part is just to make sure that the emulation works with all kind of footage. So I'll try it out on a bunch of clips with different cameras and lighting scenarios and do some fine tuning. Then when I'm happy, I'll just package it up as a one compound node for easy use later. And because this emulation is done in ACES, it works with any camera, and I can use these emulations for HDR videos as well. That is something you can't really do with other film emulation tools. So just to keep in mind, these work with HDR videos as well. This is a very simplified run-through of the emulation process. I just don't want to bore you with the plethora of details that is required for creating working emulations, as you don't really need to know these plethora of details to be able to use these emulations. And if you're interested of learning how to do this in like very detailed level, send me a comment and ask for a tutorial where I go kind of like step by step through each of the like steps on how to create this kind of profiling, how to profile these looks. And I could then even give these like the same clips and the raw files of the analog film, like the analog film photos and all of these as a like a freebie and give them out if enough people are interested. So if you're interested, comment below how to do that, and I'll teach you how to do professional professional analog film profiling. But inside the look library, there is clear tutorials on how to use these looks in ACES, and it's very straightforward. And here, floating around me, is a link to my ACES Lite look library if you are interested of the pro level grades these give you, and you can edit the looks, mix and match looks together, and even create your own looks. Take a look.